I don't find myself often offended by the way that women are portrayed in science fiction. I don't have a problem with, wardrobes being sexualized. I really don't.
So Katee Sackhoff, an actress who is no stranger to the sci-fi world, having played both Captain Starbuck in the Battlestar Galactica show, and more recently you might know her as bo-katan Kryze in The Mandalorian, she had some really interesting things to say regarding the way women are portrayed in science fiction media and how they tend to be over-sexualized. And before you assume she's complaining about the trope, you might want to just wait and hear what she has to say, because it's pretty based.
That brings up a really interesting thing, actually, because I think a lot of times in science fiction, and we see this all the time with the wardrobe of women in science fiction. I mean, look at Lily's outfit in The Fifth Element. Like, look at the characters in Blade Runner, like skin tight, latex, breasts barely covered, very sexualized, but also there's no sex.
Also how they're drawn, like in science fiction, like in cartoons and graphic novels and things, they're Jessica Rabbits basically in space. And it's so over the top. I remember with Battlestar when we had to approve certain merchandise and stuff. After a while, it got out of my control, right? Or out of our control, and it just stuff was done. But in the beginning, we had some say over what, and like the molding of the dolls, and the molding of the doll, it was like, I think I had grown 8 sizes on top, and I had a waist the size of to make that look like Jessica Rabbit.
I have never had you did fight hard. I lost my battle because I thought Starbuck, I thought that they took a male action figure and just put like my head on it. There was nothing feminine about her. It was really disgusting, actually. I was quite disappointed. But I think that I have never been, I'm not going to say never. I don't find myself often offended by the way that women are portrayed in science fiction. I don't have a problem with, wardrobes being sexualized. I really don't. I maybe it's because I'm so used to it in the space that I actually look at the wardrobe and go, damn, that's hot, or that's great, or whatever. Like, it never made me go like, oh, they're objectifying her. Like, I've never done that. Or I don't often do that. But the one thing that I love about Ron Moore is that he always gives his women power. Always.
In Ron's version of Star Trek, everybody was wearing that same uniform. There wasn't a lot of like sexualization in that thing. And it was, while it did have sex in it, it was not very prominent in the series.
Boobs were like so exposed.
Sure.
Like,
that's
she
true.
was in,
that's
like,
true.
I mean, think about it. She always had it unzipped a little bit further than everybody, and her boobies pushed all the way up, and she was hotter than shit. And like, I never gave 2 shits. I was like, damn, she looks good. Like, and I never questioned it. I was like, oh, maybe she's hot.
In later seasons, she started wearing a regular uniform, but that was because she wanted to stop being sexualized. And they were like, all right, fine. You can wear that. So she started covering up more. Awesome.
Good for her. Shit, I had no problem on Longmire. They were like, we should, what do you feel about this outfit? It doesn't really, it never occurred to me that like female police officers don't dress this way. Because I was in my mind going like, it's make-believe. Like, I think I look really cute.
Well, at the end of the day, TV is make-believe, right? So you have shows that are much more super realistic, and then shows that take a little bit of, but every show takes some artistic liberty.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's sort of one of those funny things. I think that I see so much of the time that, especially with Longmire, about her wardrobe, that like a female deputy would never dress that way. And I'm like, yeah, good thing it's a fucking TV show. Good thing it's not real. God forbid.
Yes, God forbid. God forbid we find attraction and enjoyment in looking at hot people wearing weird, revealing clothing. So this was a clip from her own podcast, The Sackhoff Show, and I'll have a link to the clip and the full episode in the description below if you want to check it out. So she was talking with Tricia Helfer, who's a friend and a fellow co-star of hers on Battlestar Galactica. She played number 6 in the show. And while they're laughing at how over the top the sexualization can be, Katie's take is actually really refreshing to hear. It's funny because sex and sci-fi have kind of gone hand in hand for a really long time, actually. Not that they're mutually exclusive, but dudes with AI girlfriends has been a trope in TV for decades. And it's even become a horrifyingly real thing in more recent times. But what I love most about Katie's take here is that it kind of breaks the taboo around the conversation. You know what I mean? Especially because it's such a male-dominated space. You know, for a long time, if you were a fan of a sci-fi property, you were kind of seen as a social outcast, right? You're a dork, you're a nerd, you probably smell bad, you can't get laid, which is why your media is full of your wildest fantasies. Like, you get the point. I mean, even today, there's conversations about the sexualization of characters, both male and female, in different media, like video games and TV shows, and how it's kind of become problematic. The male gaze gets brought up a lot, and I'm not talking about homosexual dudes. Usually, it's the dudes who are the most vocally in favor of that sexualization. I mean, look, the guy in this clip. This is Katie's producer on her show. Just imagine for a second if he was the one saying all this, that, oh yeah, I've got no problem with the sexualization of women in sci-fi. Yeah, I think it's great. I fully support it. Like, of course you do, because you're a guy. But with Katie saying it, a woman who is in deep in the sci-fi space, I think it really goes a long way in breaking the stigma and the taboo around the subject. It can't just be for the male gaze if women are into it too. If it's acceptable for a woman like her, not just a woman, but someone who's arguably more of a nerd than I am and some of the dudes I know, it really can't be that taboo. I really appreciate Katie's take here. Already loved her as bo-katan, but I think I'm going to rewatch Mandalorian Season 3 just for her. I found this really interesting, and I just had to put a video together real quick. I hope you found it interesting too, but let me know your thoughts in the comments below.